This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not. Welcome to an emergency pod edition of the Warner Brothas Podcast. Kyle joined by Brandon Petty. We just watched a classic Game 1 to the Eastern Conference Finals. Knicks Pacers. Brandon, what'd you think?
That was a crazy ass game. Like,
Say the least.
crazy. Like, I was about to turn it off at one point. I was tuning in. It was like 99 to 92, and I kind of walked away. Walked into the kitchen for a little bit, made a little late night snack action. Came back, and I'm like, damn. I'm like, New York's up.
Wait,
I think they were.
Time out. What was the snack?
Oh, I had to. What did I? Oh, some buffalo boneless wings.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's how you know it's game time. Throwing in some wings at 11:30. Okay. All right.
I was like, all right,
10:30
we gonna
probably
throw.
at this time, but it's still late.
I was like, we gonna throw a little something in the air fryer, and I look, and I think New York was up by like 10 or 11. I was like, damn. I was like, they about to take game one, so I'm just sitting there. I'm just sitting there eating, and I went back over to the couch, and I'm looking, and New York keeps on, growing their lead and stuff, and I'm like, damn. I'm like, they're kind of running Indiana out of the building here. And then Neesmith just went on that heater, like that.
He didn't
I've
quit.
seen, no, he did. I've seen very few players do that. Like, and the people that do that are kind of like high tier players, like high caliber players.
Sure.
Like, you don't really see a guy like Aaron Neesmith doing that a whole lot, like especially in the Western Conference Finals.
He was getting crazy elevation on his 3-pointer too. Like he was like how like prime MJ gets on his jump shot or Ray Allen. You know what I mean? He was like up
Yeah,
there from deep. Like those were incredibly tough shots, and he seemed comfortable every time he shot those, especially when it was to go down 8 or to go down 5. I think he got it to 2 at one point. They all seemed like they were going in.
yeah. I mean, he had the one to bring it within two, where he came around the screen, and Josh Hart actually closed on him relatively well.
A tough shot.
And he had to have gotten probably a couple feet of air on there. And just like as soon as he let go of it, like he had a perfect release on there. Like the arc of the ball was just perfect. And I was like, damn, I was like, that might go in. And I mean, he drained that shit.
Just a wild game. So you said they're up 14 with 2:51 left, so about 3 minutes left.
251 left. It was 119 to 105. And then if I'm not mistaken, I think it was a 20-6 run, within that last 251. So Indiana just went on a heater. Like, cause I was sitting there, like, I'm still watching it. I'm like, damn, I'm like, this is like, it's over with. Like, you think like with that much time left, up by 14, like, especially with how the Knicks were playing, because the Knicks were playing relatively good up until that point. You don't think that shit's gonna happen.
You
And
would
then,
think. You would think they just put the game away, right?
yeah, and then Neesmith comes
Okay.
out. Neesmith buries a couple threes, and I'm like, oh, I did one of the numbers where I sat up for a second. I said, hold up. I said, wait a minute.
That's kind of what happened to me. So I'll tell you, like, about where you're talking about. Of 14, 3 minutes left. I happen to be scrolling Instagram. I
Yeah.
come across that Reggie Miller clip of him throwing up the choke sign to Spike Lee. And I'm kind of just watching the highlight. I was actually tracked to The World Is Yours by Nas. Dope highlight, right?
Yeah.
So I happen to be watching that between, when it's 14 and then with 2 minutes left, about 50 seconds from where you're talking about, Pacers cut it to 8. And
Yeah.
you could feel the energy shift in the building for whatever reason. It got a little tense. And I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, there's just no way. Like, they're not really going to choke this away. Then, it's 5-point game. Then it's, like you said, Neesmith cuts it to a 2-point game. Then they miss free throws. Then they're trying to throw the ball all over the yard. The Knicks
Yeah.
are. They're trying to give the ball away in the last 30 seconds. Then you got Halliburton made one of the smartest plays I've ever seen. And he did this against, I think it was the Cavs game winner he had, where he kind of backs out at the foul line and he checks the opposing shot clock to see how much time's left. But when he drove to the paint, lost the ball, you see him check the clock, and you see him step back, and you're like, oh, shit, he's actually going to pull this. and it hits back rim and then it drops in. I
Okay.
lost my fucking mind. I think I laughed for like 5 minutes straight after that shot went in. What are you thinking when the shot goes through the net?
Bro, so first off, like whenever it hit the back of the rim, it shot up. It had to be 10 feet up in the air. Like I mean, it looked like it was gonna go straight through the damn ceiling. And I was like,
Felt
nah.
like the
I was like,
Kawhi shot a little bit.
nah, yeah, definitely. And I was like, damn. I was like, he, I thought he missed it, and I seen it come back down. And as soon as it went in, I jumped up off the couch. I was like, oh my, I was like, holy shit, like that was like crazy. I was like, did I really just witness that? And like then he gives a little choke, and I'm thinking he made a three.
It's
Didn't
great.
realize that his foot was on the line by probably a half inch or so, maybe a quarter of an inch. Um, he's thinking that he hit a three, so he's assuming the game's over with. The Pacers clear the bench, everything. But I'm just like, holy
It's
shit! Like,
great.
and honestly, like that shot kind of like it was like completely off topic. It was like I was watching Walter Clayton because like that was the shit that Walter Clayton was
Oh,
doing, and I was just like, especially seeing Halliburton do something like that, I was like, damn, that's crazy. But I mean, like he got it up, which I was surprised because like it was kind of like it kind of felt rushed, like the whole evolution. Like it felt like he was scrambling to get to the three line, like because I noticed that he checked the shot clock, and I think he knew that like, hey, we're down by two, so like fuck it, I'm just gonna go for the win. Um, which I mean, if he would have taken maybe half a step back, like,
that's wild.
and then he sunk it, and I'm like, damn, I'm like, Indy might, like, I think this is Indy's game.
Yeah, man. As soon as they went into OT, I'm thinking like, yeah, then the Pacers are going to run away with this. Like, how do you recover? And you could tell the Knicks were kind of shell shocked that first like minute and a half. And then
Yeah,
the Knicks actually go up, I think, six early in overtime. And you're kind of thinking, like, damn, if the Knicks can get through that mental hurdle of choking the fourth quarter, choking regulation away, like, that's a great win for them if they can come back and win.
yeah,
Pacers like, they don't care at all. Pacers don't care if they're down 25, it seems like. Doesn't matter what situation they're in. They're cool as can be. And
yeah.
part of that's Halliburton, obviously, but you just don't see that from a young team. And I know like the Thunder are young and this or that, but the Pacers carry themselves like a vet team
No, no,
for I mean, which
absolutely.
I guess they kind of are with Siakam and Miles Turner, but I mean they play wise beyond their years.
And that was honestly, that was in terms of a game that the Knicks could play, like up until that 3 minute mark in the fourth quarter, like that was about as good as a game that you're going to get, like out of that team as a whole. Like you had Campaign contributing, Mitchell Robinson had 8 rebounds, and was crashing the offensive boards like crazy. Deuce
Mm-hmm.
McBride, I think he had 9 or 10. You got 35 from Cat, 43 from Brunson. I think Bridges had 18. Um, Josh Hart, like you said, it had his typical Josh Hart game with 13 rebounds, 8 points, I think 7 assists.
That's in the statue.
Like I think New York shot, both teams actually shot 51% from the field. I think New York shot 33 from three, and I think Indy shot 40 from three. But New York out rebounded Indy, I think, by like 8 or 9 boards. Um, and honestly, a lot of the rebounds weren't even close. And I mean, they played New York played a damn near a perfect game, like up
I
until
agree with
that
you.
point.
I agree.
Um, and it kind of raises the question, like especially with those five guys playing close to 40 minutes a game, like that's going to take a lot out of you. Like what they just went
Especially with
through.
one only 1 day in between of rest. They'll be playing
Yeah,
Friday. Um yeah, you're right. Tough game, tough minutes. I completely agree with you. That's about as good of a game as you're gonna get from the people you need a good game from, a great
yeah,
game from. Town stayed out of Excuse me. Town stayed out of foul trouble for the most part. He had 4 fouls, but that's his most explosive performance probably of the postseason so far. Brunson did
yeah,
what he
absolutely.
did, but for you to give that up at home in game one in that form of fashion, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. And we can
Yeah,
sit here and say like, oh, give them the advantage in game two, but you go down 2-0 and then you gotta go to Indy and face that high powered offense. It can end quick. And I don't think it is. I think we're in for a long series and more classic moments, to be honest with you. But Indy's one of those teams you can't play with. You better go win at home in game two. Otherwise, the series is probably over.
Yeah, as you can see, and especially too, I mean, letting them steal, and honestly, like you see it in a lot of series, like a lot of times that away team, if they can come in and steal that first game, it's really a big momentum stealer, and honestly, like it's kind of like a vibe killer for the home team, like, and I'd have to imagine blowing a double digit lead with only 3 minutes left, like I'd have to imagine that's even more of a morale killer, like because now like you've got to think in the back of your head like all right like obviously no lead's ever safe but like you really like now you can't mess around like and I feel like that's got to be in the back of the head for all of these guys in the Knicks like damn like okay we might be up 10 with with however many minutes left in the game like this game ain't over and like for Indy to do that for Indy to come back like that is that's that's legendary stuff like honestly.
To say the least. To say the least. Like you said, a momentum shift. It's almost like losing game one like that. Losing game one at home. Period. It's like if you got the opening drive in football and you throw like a pick six, like you're just
Yeah.
immediately giving that momentum away. And that had me thinking losing in that form or fashion where you're up double digits with 3 minutes left. That's almost like two pick sixes on your first two possessions or two turnovers at the
Yeah.
least. Like you're just giving away. It's just so much to come back from. And Indy's really proving to be that team, a team you can't mess with, a team you can't just give 2 games. So this was already looking like a win, first of all, for the Knicks. But for it to be now all of a sudden, we're going to look back at it like you needed that game, especially if they
Yeah.
lose game two. It's like, all right, if you get blown out in game two, you're looking at game one as your main opportunity. Uh, Unreal, just unreal. And there's
Crazy.
nothing like playoff basketball, but there's truly nothing like playoff basketball at MSG. Different sort of energy, super nostalgic all day for like the 90s and 2000s with all the posts we've seen about Knicks and Pacers. And
Oh yeah.
I just hope we get a long series, whether it's 6 or 7. I hope we can get more classic moments like this because, man, it felt like we were back in the heyday of the
It
of
did.
MS
Yeah.
of Knicks and Pacers. So love this series. Hopefully the T Wolves and Thunder can match up. Game one was kind of a whatever
Kind of a
game.
wash. Yeah. A little bit of a
Yeah.
wash.
Do you think T Wolves take it tomorrow? How do you feel about that game?
I don't know. Like it's. I know Ant kind of got into a little bit of foul trouble. I don't know because Julius Randle played a good game too. Like it kind of like I know we were talking like the Timberwolves. Obviously, they have a great bench unit. Like they're gonna need a lot more out. Like those guys have to hit their shots because like
That's
if they don't, then you see what happens. They lose by what was it, 26 or 28 points.
a great
Um,
point.
and like Shea started the game out cold. Jay Willis started the game out cold. Like I think Jalen was like 2 for 11 at some point or something, and I think Shea was too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's I don't know. Like I think Minnesota has a chance. Like obviously if they're hitting their shots, but like OKC is a different beast. Like you gotta play a top tier game and like kind of the same thing with the Knicks. Like they've already got that first game. Like I feel like for the Timberwolves, if you don't steal one in OKC, that's gonna be difficult. Like I understand you go back to Minnesota for 2 games, but like OKC is good enough to where they could take both of those games and close out in 4. Now I don't think that's gonna happen, but
All right, so give us a
I
quick prediction. Thursday and Friday, game two of each series. What you got?
I think OKC wins
Okay.
tomorrow. I think it's going to be a closer game. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if OKC wins by like 5 or 6.
Okay.
Um, now I know I picked OKC. I would like to see Minnesota win though, and kind of make it a series. Just as like a basketball fan in general, like I think if Minnesota could nap game 2, then I think it would do a lot for the series. Then I think if that happens, then it could definitely be a 7 game series. I think for the Pacers Knicks on Friday night, like. I don't know. Like it depends on like what New York comes out and looks like. Like, do you come out like, are you deflated? Like, or do you kind of put this in the rearview mirror behind you and just kind of move on and forget about it? Like, I would love to take the Pacers, but I think the Knicks probably rebound and win. Like, I think it'll be a 1-1 series going into Indiana, but like then again, like it's not crazy like for Indy to take game two. Especially like I said, you don't know what you're getting out of the Knicks.
It's true. That's true. And Indy's so just high octane on offense. They can literally, if they wanted, put up 130 in regulation if they wanted
Yeah,
to. So, I tend to lean where you're going for tomorrow's game. For whatever reason, I have this feeling that OKC is going to win. So OKC goes up 2-0. I think Mini wins game three, though. And I think it'll set up for a classic game four, what I think for
I can
that
see
series.
that.
And then I'm going to go Knicks on Friday.
Mhm.
Knicks on Friday. I think they bounce back. Only if, or a big part of this would be, and this will be tough because they're not a deep team. I think they need to get nasty and like mix it up with the Pacers. I think they need to
Yeah,
like a 90s Knicks series. Like they need to be tough. They need to be like ready for a fight, honestly. Like try to get try to get one of the main Pacers. You're not gonna get Halliburton out of his spot, but like get someone like Neesmith. Try to get
yeah,
Neesmith, get him out of the game. Um, I don't know who that person would be. Shit, put in PJ Tucker if you're Tom Thibodeau.
yeah,
He'll go in. That's exactly what he'll do in that game. I don't know if he can still move, but put someone like that in, just give you energy for 3 minutes. And they don't really need that. They prove like their talent, even though they only do have 6 or 7 players. They kind of proved tonight that could be enough to at least hang with the Pacers,
yeah,
to at least win, at least make this a 6, 7 game series, 6 games at the least. But man, like if it's not PJ Tucker, someone's going to get in the face of the Pacers because the Pacers are going to be talking a ton of shit. They're going to be coming in there with
yeah,
a ton of confidence after tonight's game. And yeah, you gotta show up with a throwback New York Knicks playoff performance, and that's not just winning the game. That's making it an ugly game, making it a tough game, making it a street game, more or less. Get
yeah.
in the Pacers'
Honestly,
head. Uh, wild game, wild day too. I don't know if you saw this. The Colts owner passed away.
yeah,
Jim,
Jim Irsay, R.I.P.
R.I.P. to Jim Irsay. I didn't realize he was 65. I did not realize he was that young. They haven't
Yes,
released the reason, the cause of death, but super crazy, super sad. Um,
that's they said that I guess all I've seen that he passed away in his sleep, but like I was actually looking. It's weird. Like I don't know if you ever noticed this, but like when you get on Twitter, sometimes like somebody that just recently passed away, their tweets tend to be like one of the first couple ones that you see.
mm,
He tweeted at I think it was like 11:48 this morning, basically like
sucks.
shouting out the Pacers, like and
Right.
then like it's crazy, like he passes away like a couple hours later. Like
Extremely crazy. At such a young age, it seems like. I know he had a ton of personal issues, like early on or somewhere in his life. Um, but I had no idea if he was sick or if this was a heart attack. You said it was in his sleep, so it sounds like it was peacefully. Um, but 65, that seems young, and I did
that
not
is
realize
young.
that young. But and we got the tush push that is apparently not banned. So a lot of stuff happened in the sports world today.
Yeah, it's been a very busy day. I was surprised that the tush push didn't. I was kind of surprised that it didn't get banned because like a lot of and the reason that I say that for the people that are watching and everything like because Diana Rossini and like a couple of other people, like a lot of people were putting out that like it was expected to get banned before they went into the meeting. I think it was Diana Rossini, the Athletic, um, I think Drew Rosenhaus, and then like a couple of other people. Like a lot of people were saying like the expectation going into it was that it was going to get banned because I think it wasn't the Players Association, but there was two other was something to do with the players, and then I think maybe like the health association or whatever. Both of those kind of sections or whatever voted to unanimously ban it
Really?
going into the
Like
owners meeting.
the NFLPA did as well?
I don't I don't remember if it was the NFLPA. It was like the health association and then something with the players. and they banned it, and then Diana Rossini put out, she's like, yeah, like everybody's expecting it to be banned, and then they come out and they say, I think they only had 10 teams vote in favor of banning it. It's like the Jaguars, the Jets, um, I think the Chiefs, and like a couple of other teams. I think the Raiders were on there as well too.
I saw it was close. I saw that they needed 24 votes. They got 22. Um, I saw that they brought Jason Kelsey in to like advocate for why they need to keep the tush push around. I almost feel like if it stayed this season, I almost feel like it's going to stay around for good. I don't know if that'll be
Yeah,
continuously brought up. Maybe it eventually gets banned, but the one thing the Eagles have in their favor, and we've mentioned this on our football pods, not many other teams seem to run it as well as the Eagles do. Maybe the Bills with Josh Allen, but no one else has the success that the Eagles do with it.
yeah,
I was glad to see that the Vikings, was it the Vikings or was it the Lions? One of those teams proposed that the reseeding thing. So if you
oh, the
win your
Lions. It
division,
was the Lions.
yeah. So if you win your division, let's say at a like 7-10 record, you wouldn't necessarily get home field advantage the way you do right now. I kind of like that the divisions, regardless of record, get home field advantage, but I can understand why people don't. So I was glad to see that not get passed through. But again, man, wild sports day, wild sports night. I hope this series
100%.
goes seven. I obviously hope both series go seven, but especially this one. This feels like it could be a special series.
I agree. I think I also think Indiana kind of found a little, I guess if you want to call it like a secret weapon, Ben Shepherd. Throwing
Oh,
him in the last couple, I think he played like 7 or 8 minutes. He came in primarily for defense, and honestly contributed a lot. I mean, you're going to need that on Brunson and Hart, and even Deuce McBride whenever he comes in. Um, he's kind of like a little wrinkle that Rick Carlisle threw in there that I thought was interesting because he didn't. I mean, I think he's played. I think he played a little bit against the Cavs, and he's a good shooter too. Like he's a good 3-and-D guard.
mm.
So I think Indiana might have something there. I mean, they went 10 deep tonight. Like that's it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for the Knicks to match because like the energy level and stuff like that. Like, how does that look on Friday whenever they come out? Like after playing
Such
40,
such a deflating
45 plus
loss.
minutes.
Such a deflating
Yeah,
loss to have that. I think they can match the energy. I really do, but man, like you just said, 10 players deep, the Pacers are. They'll have the energy no matter what. Just the way they
yeah,
sub, just the way Halliburton plays. Um, they just have a ton of confidence. And yeah, I don't know. I picked the Knicks, but now like, when you put it like that, the more I'm thinking about it, it's like, man, the Knicks really do need to win, or it feels like it would be over just because of again, Indiana just seems fresh at all times. At all
yeah.
times. Um, look, we could go on and on about this game. This was a instant classic. We're gonna get out of here though. Maybe you'll see us back tomorrow if we get another instant classic in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. We'll see. If not, you'll probably see us I think Friday after both Game 2s are done. So after the Knicks Pacers again. So this was Kyle and Brandon. We'll be back. Peace.